Hello there. Good afternoon. This is Cheryl Lentz, Independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, talking to you on Tuesday at 2. I had a number of topics to cover today, and I was just sitting around playing with with coloring. I was coloring. Hi, Cindy. I have a card that uses the Geared Up Garage. Love that set, and I'm afraid it may go into, hi Patty, it may go into retirement. I'm not sure. We don't have the list yet, but I always worry about some of my favorites. My youngest son is a mechanic, and so I love anything, that cars and gears and all that fun stuff. So especially close to my heart. I love that set. So one of the cards that the Hostess Club members were making was a card with that geared up and with some paper from the new the mini catalog. So I will be doing that. But also we have so many wonderful line drawing sets, many of them, where you need to color them in. And sometimes people kind of tend away. They don't like to color. I know that people that don't like to color do like to color with the blends because it makes it so easy. But we have a number of different things, and we also have, which I think we forget to look at. Oh, okay, well, we'll talk about coloring. Some of the things we forget to look at is our watercolor pencils. So we have 2 sets of watercolor pencils. One is like basic colors. There's, let's see here, the watercolor pencils, I have it right here. So one of them has 13, the number 1 set, the first set that came out, has 13 pencils in it, a lot of basic colors, and then we have a set number 2 that has 10 pencils in it. So different watercolor pencils. And what I am using them with today, you can use them with aqua painters. I am not today. Today I'm using them with a blender pen. So I have a couple of different things. We have the watercolor pencils. We do have the blends, and I'm going to show you some differences using some of the different mediums. We have watercolor paper, which is fabulous. The watercolor paper, which is really great. If it's a cotton paper, it has a little bit of a texture. This is new from if you've used it in the past, and especially if you're using the aqua painters or the water painters. I'm not sure what they call them now. Anyhow, they're a little bit different. We have a set of 3 that I dearly love. Good afternoon, Jean. And then the shimmery white paper, which is 8.5 by 11, shimmery white, gives it a really cool kind of a sheen. And then depending on what you're using depend on what kind of ink you're using also. So we have Stays On, which we have it in 2 colors, a saddle brown and and jet black. Okay, so I have one picture that I already colored. I'm just going to kind of show you using those 2 different ones on some of the shimmer paper. And I'll just turn the camera around. Let's get started. I'll start showing you some of the samples. I did a number of different samples. I will color one simple because I love the Wildly Happy. I'm an elephant. I love elephant, anything elephant. Ever since going to Thailand, we went to a preserve, and it just, they're near and dear to my heart. So when that set came out, that was one of the first ones I bought from the new annual catalog. So I will do an elephant, and I'll show you how simple it is. So you don't have to color everything in. You can use your blender pen and just kind of move color around and play with it. Also in our blends, we have 2 different skin tone colors, which are really wonderful. So I will show you the difference. I'll pull those out. So let me turn the camera around. I will start with some of the samples that I did. Then I'll do our little elephant with the watercolor pencil. And then we'll stamp the card from Hostess Club. That had another little additional tip besides coloring the car in. So I'm going to turn the camera around. You're going to go for a little ride. Oh, let's see, right here. Hit the right button. Okay, let me turn this around. Careful. I'm sorry. I'm giving you a little swing around here. Okay, we're going to go a little bit bigger. There we go. Okay, and hopefully that is light enough there for you. Okay. All right, so I was talking about the different, so if you're working with watercolor and it's a non-porous or a non-porous surface, you want the Stays On. So we have it in the 2 different colors. if you were going to stamp on perhaps our window sheets, that kind of thing, that's what you would use. You would use the Stays On. So on this, I love this set too. So this is one of my favorites, the Treasures of Life. So that's a lot of my samples are dealing with this set, Treasures of Life. Love it. It is in the mini catalog. So here's the same image. I stamped it on shimmer paper. So I don't know if you can kind of, I'm not sure if you can really see that sparkle. There's a little sparkle on shimmer. Hello, Debbie. There's a little sparkle on shimmer. But here it is. So on this one I stamped with the jet black, Stays On. And here I did the saddle brown, which gives it kind of a subtle, a more subtle look, kind of a little bit more, just a softer look. I did sneak in, and I did not go over on the ink a lot, but I did sneak in and used my ivory blend to do the skin tones, because we really don't have a skin tone in our pencils. So so that's just kind of two different looks using the watercolor pencils. And what I did was I just colored along the edges and kind of filled in spots, and then I used my blender pen all around. So the other thing I did were these little hands. So I want to show you some differences. I love the little hands with the I love you heart in it. So here is one that I stamped. This is on watercolor paper, so it's a little bit thicker, textured. And I did ink this with the Stays On, and I used the watercolor pencils. So I just did this Flirty Flamingo, which is so pink, right? But I did it right along the edges. And then I just went with my blender pen. You get 3 blender pens in a container, and they have a double tip. The tips are the same. And then I just kind of went around the edges, and then I just kind of pulled it like this. And then just kind of pulled it to the center. So not everything had to be colored. On this one, I went with the Cherry Cobbler. I went really dark line to show the darkness, the shaded area. And then I just went over it with the light. And then you just kind of go in tiny circles, and it spreads that out. So that is one of my little hands. So that's using the watercolor pencil. And then I used the blender pen. So here I also did this on the watercolor paper. And I used the blender pens. So I used my favorite Flirty Flamingo. And I used, this is actually the ivory on the watercolor paper. Remember, watercolor paper it's cotton paper, it just kind of grabs the color up. So it's going to absorb more and look a little bit darker. So, you know, this looks actually more red than the pink, but I did use the pink in here, the Flirty Flamingo. So here is my, and then around the edges, I always like to go with a little bit of blue. Here I went with some blue, here I went around with some blue. So it just gives it a different look. I did all of the hands in the ivory, but then I went back where it was supposed to be shaded and went over it again, just to give it a little depth, okay? So here's my other one, and then I have one more. So on this one, I used the ivory and the bronze for the skin tone. So here I used the ivory, and then I went over it a little bit with the bronze, and then went again with the ivory, and here with the bronze. And then I used balmy blue for kind of the outline. And we used real red, so the light and dark real red. But you can see the difference in the look with the same paper, but it looks a lot different. It's kind of fun. Sort of fun to play around and just see what you can see. So that's that. Now I'm going to move this out of the way here. And I'll show you my little elephant, because totally love this set. Where are you? My little set. Where's my little cute set? Right here. Love this set. Love it. It's so cute. So here's my little elephant. And I used, on the elephant, I used my blender pen. I used the blender pen, but I used the watercolor basic gray. And I used the Flirty Flamingo watercolor pencil, just a little, because you know I always like to put a little bit of pink on their ears. And I did stamp this with Memento. So here we go. This is just white, Whisper white cardstock, basic white cardstock. And I'm going to ink this up. So I think we get kind of carried away that everything has to be colored in completely. The blender pen sort of just can move around color nicely, and you don't have to have everything colored in. It can have kind of a soft look to it. So let's get this little guy stamped. Love the elephants. There we go. Okay. Try a minute. Okay, so I started out with my basic gray, and all I'm doing with these line drawings are so simple is I'm just kind of coloring along the lines, right? I'm just filling in exactly where they filled in. It doesn't have to be like perfect. I'm just kind of going along the edges and roughly, you know, filling this in, kind of outlining it again, because I'm going to draw that color out and around a little bit, but not all the way to the center. So I did the mama here and the baby. Go around like that, and then all these little lines that they give us, we know that those are going to be colored in a little bit, and that's going to draw that color around. And here's my sweet little baby elephant. So I'm just kind of going around on him too. Each one may look a little bit different depending on how much, you know, pencil you put down, lead you put down, you know. Might be a little bit darker, a little bit lighter. There we go. And I did the pink after I did the gray. So I colored it in first, and then I took my blender pen, and I just kind of went in little circles. And as it, you know, it's going to be darker where the line went, and as you come out, it's just going to get lighter and lighter. So it'll kind of pull it out a little bit, but not everywhere. So I'm moving kind of quickly. I'm not letting it rest on there because I don't want to beat up my paper, right? And I'm just kind of going along the edges here. And then I'm going to just kind of pull it like this. So edging, going around the edges, and then pulling it across. And that way you can leave highlights where it should be highlighted a little bit, where it should be lighter. There we go. And I'm just going to go around here and around my little baby. There. I'm just going to pull that so it's a really soft, kind of a soft look. It's not real defined and not filled in completely. There you go. Ta-da. There. When you're done with the color, you go with the side of the pen, not straight on, with the side of the pen, and just go like this. This color was so soft that it didn't have a lot on there, but that just cleans off the color, and then you're ready for the next color. So I went with the Flirty Flamingo pencil, and I wanted this equally soft. So I just put a little tiny bit on. When you put the blender pen on, it's going to make it a little bit darker. So I just put a little tiny bit on and filled it in, softened the edges. This just moves that pencil ink around the lid. Ta-da. So there you go. Here's my cute little elephants. I love them. Ta-da! So, fun. So, experiment with the watercolor pencils and the different mediums that we have. Kind of play around with it and see. Don't be afraid to pull them out and do different colors. I mean, when I did this one, you know, totally different. I used the different, these are the same color. The jacket was the same color. But because this is with the saddle brown, it just looks really different. The pants are the same color. Obviously, the girl's jacket is different. But I mean, each one is going to be a little bit different. And the tones just look different because of using the saddle brown instead. So much fun. here we go. I'm going to move that off to the side. I have all this stuff out here. Oh, I want to show you this quick. This was my last card I made with the paper pumpkin from February. I had all these little pieces left, and this was the one that I colored on Friday. So I colored in the roses, this bouquet on Friday. I fussy cut it and just put it on here. So I have all the leftover pieces I used up with that kit. So that's that. Now, the card that I'm going to give you another little extra tip on. This is the card for one of the cards for Hostess Club. All geared up to celebrate. Love the gears. Love that we have silver foil, you know. And it goes great with this, the paper. And we have put some extra gears inside with the happy birthday. So, and this is the cool little car that we're going to color with the blends. And you can see that it's a little shiny. So what did I do with that? Hello, Vera. What did I do with that? Of course, I used Wink of Stella on it to make it a metallic Poppy Parade car. So much fun. So here's my little, all my little pieces all cut out and ready to go here. So what I like to do, you know, oops, I didn't get a new glue out, Lisa. What I like to do is get my little extra pieces out of the way. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I am going to go ahead and get this layer, this top layer, all set up. So this is the basic gray. I love this paper. So here I use the front and back of the same paper because it looked so cool. And that paper is, let's see here. I always, Pam, I need you here, Well Suited. This is the Well Suited paper from the mini catalog. Love this paper. I just think it's really great. And it had a little bit of, it has a little tiny bit of Poppy Parade in it on this stripe. And that's what I pulled out for the car. I thought, well, that works perfect. So here we go. Get my loose pieces out of the way first. And I'm just kind of balancing that. There, ta-da. And then I'm using the back side. I like this little tweed look. Very classic, very cool. I wouldn't mind keeping this paper around. Just saying, Stampin' Up! I really wouldn't mind if you kept this paper around because I just love the Well Suited paper. I just think the designer paper is so cool. So there's that one, and it just got glued straight down onto the card, this layer here. And what I'm doing is I'm balancing so I have the same borders from side to side and from up and down. So I'm just kind of making that the same. So there, just eyeballing it. Okay, and then this is going to go right here over the top. So I did not put, you could use your sticky adhesive sheets on here. We did not this time because there's a lot of area that you can put down a little bit of your green glue that you don't, you know, it's not gonna just come gooing out all over. You can kind of put it here and there. It doesn't have to be everywhere. Here, there, not everywhere. There we go. And then I'm just going to put this down like this here. Let's see. There we go. Ta-da, ta-da. Okay. Now, we're going to do a little stamping. Let me move this away for a moment. This is going to be my car. This is going to be my verse. I used Memento, of course, because we're using our blends. So here's my car. Got it in my little basket right next to me here. Car, car, car. Here we go. And this is going to get cut out, so I don't have to worry about placement on it very much. Just kind of get it smack dab in the middle there. And here's my little, that's birthday for inside. Here's my verse for the outside. And I'm going to stamp this off to the right because I'm going to use our a punch there. The punch to make my little whale tail on there. Please be straight. Thank you. That's good. Good for me. That's good for me. And then I'm gonna go ahead and stamp the inside because it is a nice birthday card. So I'm gonna just ink this up real quick and have that all done. So I have all my stamping finished. We're just gonna say happy birthday. There we go. Okay, nice and bold. Close this up. So I used my, this can go on the inside, we'll glue that in a moment. Here we go. So I used the Banners Pick a Punch, love this punch, for my verse here. So I'm just going to put that down in here, and I do almost always turn it around just to make sure I have everything in there correctly so that it's side to side right. There we go. If you have a shorter one, take a piece of Post-it note and use that as a little tool to put it in there, fit it in there. So I'm going to set that off to the side, put my little punch back in here. Okay, now I'm going to color this. I find it easier to color anything in before I cut it out. I have a bigger paper, I can move it around. I feel like I have a little more freedom in what I'm doing. So I started out with the light smoky slate, and that's what I did for the grill. Here we go. Wasn't quite sure about the. There's like 3 lights on here. I don't know what that's all about. I'll have to ask Travis. I thought that's I wasn't quite sure about that. And I'm going to color in the wheels here. Ta-da! There we go. And the handle on the car. There we go. I guess this little bumper area I did color gray there. Okay. So now I'm going to go over it with my light Poppy Parade. And I went over the whole thing with that, and then I'm going to come back with the dark and add in some shading. So I went with the light Poppy Parade all over here. Just kind of going around. And they have some nice, they have all the lines. So we know where to make it a little bit darker. It's kind of done for us. And what I did on the windows is I used light, I like to color in the windows too. So I used a light pool party for the windows. There we go. You know what? Last time I had a frog in my throat too, and right after I got off on Friday, I dumped my soda right on top of my new computer. But all's well that ends well, and it was okay, I guess. I was a little bit concerned. I couldn't believe I did that. But there we go. Okay, so there we go with the, I'm going over this spot too. There we go with the light. And then I'm going to go in for some detailing with the dark. So where they have these lines, I'm going to just go over them a little bit heavier. And where it's shaded like that, I'm going to go over it completely. There we go. So that gives it a little bit more depth. There. Ta-da. Okay. So if you want to soften the lines after you've gone over it like this, and you want to have the lines a little bit softer, all you do is go back with your light and just color it over the whole thing again. It looks like it's gone, like the lines are gone, but they're not. When it dries, you will still see the definition that you just put in there. There we go. Ta-da. So here's the windows with my light pool party. And I just went over that light just like that. Ta-da, ta-da. And the perfect thing, Wink of Stella. Let's make it a metallic car. And put on a little color here. Just a little sparkle. There. So you know if it gets a little bit like you're not getting it out, there's two spots in there, you just kind of squeeze it and you'll get a little more Winkestella out there. I just want it on the red, I don't want it on the other parts. There we go. So I get a nice metallic sparkle on that car. Cool, cool beans. Okay, let's bring our mighty machine over here and cut this baby out. My little mighty cutter. So here we go. This has a nice die for it. So I'm going to take that out, put it on here. There we go. I think that should be good. Put this one right on top. Hold it tight and run it through. Get that glue out of the way. There we go. Okay. So here's my tip. That's all easy. Everybody knows that stuff, right? So this is a fun tip. So I wanted this car to be accented. So here it is. I have this car. It's going to have a little bit of white around it, you know, because that's where it cuts out. But to put it on there just like that, even if I pop it up, it doesn't stand out enough. That's not good. So what I decided is I wanted to have a border around there. Now you could take this, you could glue it on here, and then you could cut freehand with the border. Or you could do it the easy way, because I'm all about doing it easy, is you take your die and turn it around so the flat side is down. I'm just going to take a pencil, and yes, I'm going to have to fussy cut it, but now it's going to be exactly the right shape and size, and the border will be perfect because I'm going around my die that I just cut that out with. So this has a perfect shape there. So that's my little tip. That's my other tip, is now if I had a pen, oh here, scissors, okay. And so when I cut this out, I'm cutting on the inside of the pencil mark. Even though it's going to be turned upside down, it really doesn't matter. But I didn't want a real thick border. I just wanted a perfect border. And that's how I got my perfect border, is by copying, using my pencil and tracing around the die itself. It's sort of like, it reminds me of, like we have some of the stamps that you can use either side of them, you know, they're double-sided, so you get like a solid image or you get a line drawing image depending on what side you're using. The mountains, the mountain set is like that. That's kind of what this is like, right? I'm just using the back side and getting the right shape and size here. So it was kind of a fun, ta-da, there we go. Okay, fun way to layer it up. So I'm turning this around. There it is, my car image. I'm going to glue this baby down. There. And just like that, I have an exact border for my car. So I'm going to go ahead and put this, I'm going to glue this onto the base. It was a great, I like Pacific Point, and then to use the gray, and I mean the paper gives you all the colors, right? I'm just pulling. I'm not doing anything. I'm just pulling from what Stampin' Up! Gave us with this great, well-suited paper. There we go. And then we're going to use some dimensionals here. I'm going to put my car on first. Pop it up. I did have some black dimensionals, but I ran out. This would be a good way to use the black dimensionals. We have black dimensionals. Did you know that? And the black dimensionals come in this size and the mini in one pack. So it's kind of cool. I ended up having, I must have used a lot of the big ones. Perhaps, you know, like Halloween when I use more of the dark colors. Here we go. And this is going to go here, like zoom, zoom, right here. So So my gears show, shiny shows. I'm going to put 3 of them on here. Pop that up too. There we go. I'm going to throw that on the ground. I'm the sweeper. There we go. And on this one, I backed it right up to the black here and left that little edge. Ta-da. Okay, so the inside was happy birthday. Great guy card. Been trying to do a little more, making some cards for our guys. And what is better than a car and gears? There's not much. Not much better than that. There we go. Okay, let's put this on. Here, a little more glue. All right. There, ta-da. All set. There we go, all geared up to celebrate. Shiny Poppy Parade car, cool gears, great paper. What I like about the paper too is that the print is small. So for a small image like this and to still show up, you know, have the gears show up on there, I just think that's pretty cool. So thank you, Stampin' Up. Thank you, thank you. So that's our picture for today. I want you to, so here's all our cool little hands. Now I have to make cards with all these, you know, because it'll be kind of neat. So here's all of our samples. Here's our sample of Grandpa and the child in saddle brown or jet black. So using shimmer paper. So don't forget about shimmer paper. Don't forget about the watercolor paper. Next week I should play with the aqua painters. But this is what I have for you today. Oops, I forgot our elephants. How could I do that? Sorry, Grandpa, you gotta move. Here, we have to put our baby elephants on here too because they're so gosh darn cute. Okay, cars, elephants, small children. I love you. We've got it all today. This is it. Let me turn the camera around. Here we go. So, I hope that you got a couple of tips on using the watercolor pencils. Bring those out. You know, we all tend to kind of go to the same colors and the same products, and but we have so much to offer. My camera keeps moving. We have so much to offer at Stampin' Up, different mediums. So if you're on the go and you want something thin, I have my watercolor pencils in a case, but they come in a nice little box. You know, so if you want something small and compact, put that in, take those along. All you need is the blender pen or the aqua painter. I would say the blender pen. Aqua painter, you're going to need water and some additional things. But take them along and use that. Use some of those pretty line drawings, stamp them out, some of the flowers, that type of thing is also much easy to use all the different colors. And you don't have to color in the whole thing. Try that. Tiny little circles, drawing around the edge and pulling the colors in. Almost like we do with the blends anyhow. I mean, some of the blends I go around the outside. I did with the flowers and then color in and kind of blend it with the lighter blends. So I like to color. Coloring has been a big thing now. So color away. We will see you tomorrow for Winging It on Wednesday. I'm not sure which kit. I will let you know on my warning shot out at 1 o'clock tomorrow. And I will see you then. So y'all have a great night. Please join me tomorrow for Winging It on Wednesday at 2. Thank you. Bye-bye.